It's a whole new world. Especially when it comes to actually fitting things onto your car. By far the worst part to make fit on any car, I would say on a list of things that are this is the shit. And that would be the damn throttle body from the Y pipe of a B5S4 or a C5A6, the actual pipes that go into that Y pipe, into the throttle. The worst part in the world. And if you know what I'm talking about, you feel my pain. You get damn oil everywhere because the car is old, and then the Y pipe will eventually pull out, it'll hit your fan because it pops off, and then you get a massive air leak because the Y pipe's made of plastic. Why would Audi do that? Why would you make that plastic? Super fun. But that happens with wheel fitment too. That's the transition. I'm Alex, Alex.fi on Instagram, and today we're gonna be talking about how everything you need to know about proper wheel fitment before you decide to pick up a set of wheels and tires, and why, probably peeking a little bit there, why do so many people sometimes have a tendency to get it wrong? Let's go. Okay. Come on. And if you're just jumping into this video, hello, I'm Alex. And if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to hit us up over at fitmentindustries.com. You wanna know why? Because we can put wheel and tire packages together and we can make them fit, and we got the Fitment specs, bud, that make them look good, all right? We're really good at that. Plus we have 0% financing, so if you wanna pick up your stuff now and get it ready to pay off with tax returns so that you can have your car ready for car season, you can do that. Because lo and behold, we are into 2021, which means spring is coming. I know contrary to popular belief, the world still is turning. Or don't, it's entirely up to you. Plus, we actually have a new official giveaway as well with Artista Art Formed wheels, a monoblock deco directional ultralight wheel built specifically for people like you and people like me that want form, function, and all of the above. We may have actually made that company, which is why we're so excited about it, but it would at least mean a lot if you could go check it out. It's part of our giveaway this year. This is the Titan. It's pretty neat. All right, video. Wheel fitment is difficult for a lot of people, and most people get it wrong because there's quite a bit. There's a lot of stuff that you gotta take into consideration. It's like when you start getting into calculus, okay? Everything pre-calc and before you can kind of figure out, but calculus, it starts to get a little difficult. You've got backspacing. Is that the same thing as offset? Well, maybe, but not really, okay? Diameter of wheels is 18 inches on the website, but 19 inches when you measure it with an actual ruler, and that just has you feeling some sort of way because it's confusing. Hub-centric isn't the same as wheel-centric, and don't even get me started when you realize a 225/40/18 Michelin has a different sidewall height than a Nitto NT555 225/40/18 because they're made of different materials, and since they're made of different materials from different companies, the sidewall height ratio is different. Sorry. So why do many people have a tendency to get it wrong? And why do so many people mess up one of these things too? Well, the number one thing has to do with kind of going overboard with the cheese and low offset wheels. Now, everybody loves talking about offset when they're talking about their wheel size, because when it comes down to it, low offset is cool. All right? All right. It's what the cool kids do. And it's what has a tendency usually to give you more lip, more concavity, and more depth to your wheel because the mounting point of the wheel to your hub assembly is closer to the back of the wheel. This pulls the design back, or it's gonna add lip if the design or the face of the wheel is flat. So a lot of times people really wanna run out there, they're gonna get up their wheel and tire package, and they're gonna want us to have something that is the most smallest offset wheel they can possibly find. And usually you'll see something like an 18/9.5 plus 10. And because we can fit that on their cars, we sometimes think that that'll be the max concavity, but still fit within the wheel wells. And ain't that a shitty thing to learn when you actually install them? Because that's not usually how it works. Offset has to be one facet of really deciding what size wheel you can go with. And offset is just one of those things. It's gonna make other things better or worse, but you need to be looking at your overall width and your tire size and all of that information at one time so you know how the entire assembly is gonna come together. You have to decide how much your wheel wells can take. Now you can do math and you can figure out how much backspace you have. So that would be from your mounting surface to your first obstruction inside the wheel well, and that's usually going to be your strut or your coilover. And a lot of times you can actually measure this by taking a straight edge to that first obstruction in the wheel well. It's just as simple as that. Write it down, give yourself a little bit of a padding or a cushion so that you don't get too close to it. And then you do that same thing for your front space. You're gonna be able to maximize the space from the mounting surface to probably your fender liner or your fender lip. And then at that same time, when you put those two numbers together, that's gonna give you your total amount of space within the wheel wells. Now that's not gonna account for some turning radius issues that you're gonna wanna take into consideration. However, when people end up maxing out their offset and then buying their wheels, a lot of times they're not thinking about things like that. They're not thinking about width, they're not thinking about diameter. And those things can play an effect in there as well. When you're looking at wheels, you can pretty much figure out how much play you have with your wheel fitment by just looking at the gallery. There's a gallery on our website that's gonna help you kind of figure it all out, or you can go in and do the math yourself, which we actually have a video over here. Generally, people go too aggressive on their first round because they want something super mean and super meaty. And what you end up is with your NC Miata looking a little bit more 4x4 and not much of a fitted look because you went too weird with the offset. A great tool for this, especially if you've already bought a car with aftermarket wheels and let's say you don't like them, is actually a calculator, which you can go and take the existing wheel specs, wheel size, tire size, and all that sort of good stuff, and compare it to the wheels and tires that you want to buy. There's actually a calculator on our website that you can use that will tell you how much further something is gonna go out or sunk in, depending on the size and offset of the wheels and tires that you're looking to switch out. This is key, especially as people are picking up more used cars now than ever before. And it takes out a lot of guessing in the game where you can just know exactly what you're getting into. And it's super nice for when you're swapping to a new setup in the spring. Another reason we all get fitment wrong every once in a while is because we buy our setup. We're essentially looking for that mean and green, like looking meaty, functional look. A lot of times people aren't a huge fan of the stretch tire look. Stretch tires generally do best with stance setups, but not everybody's a huge fan of that, all right? So we have like a Ford Fusion. We wanna have a meaty setup. We want an aggressive setup. So we hop on up to the gallery. We've been eyeing up our wheels and tires. You pick them up, you throw them on the car, you look at it, and something just don't look right. And you just don't really understand where or why it all went wrong. But now you're wondering to yourself if you're one of those people, and the answer may be yes. All right, you go looking back and forth because you wanted that meatier setup. So then you look to the aspect ratio and it almost looks exaggerated. You have to remember that when you're looking at tire size, you're looking at section width, you're looking at aspect ratio, which is a percentage of that section width, and then your overall diameter of your tire size. That second number plays a huge part in how the overall wheel and tire is going to look. And it's probably one of the most overlooked parts of a wheel and tire setup in the industry. It's the number one mistake I've made, it's the number one mistake we've all made. Wheels are easier to actually figure out. And tires, on the other hand, that's where things can get a little feisty. And when you separate the two when you're buying them, it can make it even more confusing. Remember that the second number on the tires, i.e. 45 series, is 45% of the section width of the tire as a tire height number. So a 225/45 is 101 millimeters tall. A 225/40 is only 90 millimeters of height. So that 11 millimeter difference can make all the world for you when it comes down to getting your fitment dialed in, especially on a less wide wheel, as the bubbling just seems to be a lot easier to see. So a 40 to a 45 is a big deal. And for field of reference, just for the sake of saying it, try to stay at or underneath 40 for your aspect ratio, because the smaller the sidewall, the more emphasis on the wheel will be there for you. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to run a stretch setup, because you can go for a wider section width. But you may end up looking like pogo sticks, because if you don't have any coilovers on your tires, aren't hiding your gap, it's gonna look odd. I'm not trying to say wheels, tires, or suspension. I'm just trying to say that a lot of times they complement each other, okay? Like salt and pepper on a steak, or Cholula on a taco, or Tabasco on Fritos.
Fuego alert.
Right? And that's where the fine tuning is so important. We all jumped in and we wanted to get some stuff. We wanted to get some wheel fitment. We wanted to look good because we want to be cool, all right? But then you go out there and you don't throw on the TPMS. You'd use the old bolts even though the wheels have 15 millimeters more back pad than the past ones. And we just try to rush it because the season opener or some sort of car show is in 2 weeks. And a lot of times the rushing on the smaller details is ultimately what causes the greatest pain and why people get the wheel fitment so wrong. Don't do that. Take your time when you're doing this sort of stuff. It's like measuring for a shelf. Sure, you can guess the hell out of it and makes it fun if it works, but if it doesn't, it's gonna look pretty terrible, and then everybody's gonna question your life choices when they come to your house. Using your peers and using the gallery is a great way to jump in and have confidence to get it right the first time. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't shoot your shot and try to figure out the wheel fitment by yourself by doing a little bit of math, doing a little bit of measurements, and just making sure that things are gonna go over yourself. Things are gonna go well for yourself. I forgot a word in that last sentence. Will you want to cut plastic? Will you want to roll fenders? Will you be okay with rubbing every once in a while, or won't you? You gotta know these things before you pick up stuff, because otherwise you're gonna be really shocked when it does one of those things. People get fitment wrong so often because they see cars with insane fitment and assume all you gotta do is buy the same wheels and tires and you're pretty much set to go. But they don't read the fine print, or the part on the gallery that says that they rubs at full turn, or the fact that they chopped up their entire fender liner to make it fit. And if you want to do that, you just got to be okay that those things are going to happen. Don't complain and get scared when it does. It'll eventually stop making noise. Like, if you rub enough, it'll eventually stop. You just got to be okay with that. We're not like truck people. Don't be, it's going to be okay. Research, measure for yourself for the first time. Use the gallery, check your numbers against what people are running on a similar platform, and by all means, and by all that is holy, use a calculator, all right? Calculators is this thing, you got them on your phone, now they have commercials on them. I think that's the dumbest thing in the world, all right? But use a calculator. And if you don't want to do that, get yourself an 18 by 8.5 plus 35 on a 225 40 18, and I promise you'll have the scrambled eggs version of pepper fitment that fits 99% of the time, all right? Or just use the gallery. It's completely up to you. That is why people get wheel fitment wrong. And if you're looking to pick some stuff up, or you're just looking to build your car, research will always be the #1 thing that actually helps you get to where you need to go. If you can't find a clear answer, try not to guess. Jump into a forum, use the gallery, try a calculator once or twice, get yourself a straight edge and measure some things out for yourself and see if it's gonna work for you. One of the biggest things that can happen is that you don't do it right, you have some regrets. And you don't wanna have regrets, okay? I had 15 by 10s on my Datsun and I didn't know what that was gonna look like, and then I did and I was like, I fucked up. But have you ever gotten fitment wrong? Let us know below, and of course if you're looking for aftermarket wheels, tires, or suspension, be sure to check us out over at fitmentindustries.com, where you can check out a gallery and you can see what everybody else is running, because if all else you can just do that, and that works actually really, really well. I'm Alex from Fitment Industries, and we will see you later. Peace.